Previously on MayRey.
We're here to take a look at Hatoful Boyfriend. You've made a terrible mistake. Who the hell are you? I'm your conscience. Do I even have one of those? Not anymore, you don't. Hey, Lily! Hey. Listen, me and the other aspects of your unconscious mind, we've been a bit worried about you. Why? Well, we just think that maybe you've been a bit too into that bird dating game. What makes you say that? I don't see what the problem is. No, it's fine. Obviously not. No, I'll just be in the deep recesses of your mind. It's fine. It's fine. I think my conscience may have had a point. Maybe I have been playing that game too much. God, what have I missed? I always check Twitter. Don't care. Why is he still alive? Nah, really doesn't look like there's anything... Wait a minute. Oh shit, man! The Incredibles 2! You can bugger off, Infinity War. This is the only superhero movie that I've been excited for this year. Though, to be fair, that is mainly due to the fact that I don't actually follow the current run of Marvel movies at all. Sorry, whoever you are, but Tobey Maguire will always be my Spider-Man.
Pizza time.
The first Incredibles film was released way back in 2004, and after nearly 14 years of waiting, we are finally gonna get a sequel. The Incredibles 2 is currently slated for release on the 15th of June in the United States, and July 13th in the UK. Well, despite the years of progress that's been made, Disney once again proves that they're fucking racist. If you've somehow not seen the original, go and do it now. It's honestly one of the best superhero stories ever put to film. So funny, heartfelt, and just plain well written. It's one of those nostalgic films that actually still holds up today. So much so that I even went out and bought it on Blu-ray just so that I could watch it again in preparation for the sequel. The film, of course, was very popular. So popular, in fact, it was given its own video game. Released in 2004, The Incredibles was ported to PlayStation 2, Xbox, and Nintendo Gamecube. We're taking a look at the GameCube version today, as that's the one that I own, and what a cover it has. I mean, talk about simplicity. You got the title, and that's about it. What, you wanted something else? Like, characters? Explosions? Competence? What do we look like? A decent publisher? I gotta say, I do have some fond memories of playing this game when I was younger. I do hope it's not actually a steaming pile of shit. The game opens with a...
What are you waiting for?
Hello, Frozone. Of course, how could I forget? Frozone is the narrator in this game. He's actually portrayed by his original voice actor, Samuel L. Jackson, which is pretty cool. Sadly, he only narrates for the first 3 levels and in the menus, but he sure does make up for it with all of his... enthusiasm.
Now, if you're low on help, don't sweat it! Just pick up a first aid kit! Guess what? You can pick up and throw stuff if you have to. right, swing, girl, swing! That's what I'm talking about. Let's get this thing on!
That's quite enough, Mr. Jackson.
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
As you'd expect, the game loosely follows the movie's storyline, with the basic events unfolding as they did in the film, while also accommodating for the fact that this is an action-focused video game. The tutorial levels, for example, take place during the opening of the movie, where Mr. Incredible is trying to defeat Bon Voyage. It's here we learn the controls through—
Yo, what are you waiting for? Right, you don't know what to do. It's cool. Stay alert and watch your step.
Don't sass me, Frozone, because I have the antidote for your bullshit. Do you get it? Because he's got ice powers. Now, when I said it loosely retells the story, I meant it. Levels are tied together with scenes taken straight from the movie, which are, truth be told, decent quality for the Gamecube, but they do omit several important parts from the film. There's absolutely no explanation as to why Mr. Incredible even has to go to the island, Syndrome's ultimate plan is also never explained, and he barely even appears in the game save for a few cutscenes. So they definitely expected you to see the movie beforehand. Quick reminder, of course, that if you still haven't seen the film, just during the game, you take control of every single member of the Incredibles family, though you mostly play as either Mr. Incredible or Elastigirl. The parents' levels are your typical action game stages with lots of enemies to fight and a few puzzles here and there. Violet relies on stealth because obvious, and Dash is Sonic the Hedgehog. There's even a level where you get to play as both of the siblings, taking inspiration from a scene in the film where Dash runs inside Violet's force field. So, there's a lot of variety in the gameplay here. However, there are also 8 Fast and Furious movies, so quantity isn't always a good thing. Let's just see how this game actually holds up. Well, first off, visually, the game is pretty alright. It's the GameCube, so I can't expect much from those tiny little discs, but the game never really feels overtly ugly. At least until you see a close-up of Mr. Incredible in a cutscene, and fucking hell. That is a face only a mother could love, and even then I think she'd struggle. But during gameplay, everything looks fine. Not great. Not terrible. Just fine. The combat, however, is somewhat shallow in my opinion. You have both a basic attack as well as something that the game refers to as Incredi punches. Basic attacks are performed with the B button and form a simple combo if you use them enough times in a row. This is the standard attack you'll be using throughout the game. Incredi punches are much stronger attacks that will often take out multiple enemies at once and even send others flying. However, it does require at least some charge to perform and will often have a wind-up which leaves you open to be interrupted by an enemy. You can also
pick up and throw stuff if you have to.
But it's not really a recommended tactic. At least not for Mr. Incredible, as he is slow as fuck and can never actually throw anyone before he gets hit himself. As for picking up things like bombs, well, good luck figuring out where you have to stand for that to work. Elastigirl has it a bit easier. She can grab things from a distance, and her throwing ability is all in one solid motion, making it a far more effective attack even when facing multiple enemies. Come to think of it, Elastigirl is just a lot more fun to play as than Mr. Incredible. On top of being able to throw things quicker, she just has a much better moveset and the ever so useful advantage of range. So the combat isn't the best, but it is at least somewhat varied compared to other games. The fact that it gives you 2, arguably 3 ways of attacking does mean that while it is a bit shallow and simple, fighting bad guys can prove to be an enjoyable part of the game. Another area where this game is a bit of a mixed bag is in its level design, though unfortunately I'd say it falls on the bad side more than the good. Most of the earlier levels are pretty decently made, with easy to follow structures, manageable amounts of enemies to fight, and challenging but not unfair obstructions to your progression. It makes me think that perhaps the developers were a bit rushed for time about halfway through this game because it very quickly becomes bullshit. How would you like to just open a door and immediately be shot? Just look at this. How is this even remotely fair? Fucking... just get over just fucking stop! Towards the end of the game, the level structure seems to devolve into just a series of rooms filled with enemies and maybe a button you have to press in order to open the exit. In fact, sometimes it is literally that. Game design. As for the enemies themselves, they're okay. My biggest complaint is how inconsistent their health seems to be. Sometimes an enemy will be defeated after just one punch. Other times they'll take up to 3 or 4. Now that would be fine if maybe they visually distinguished enemies that had higher health, but by and large they don't. With the exception of some armored guys in the last few levels and these flying bastards, every enemy looks exactly the same. Whoa, shit! He is definitely dead. Actually, a lot of these guys are probably dead. Do you think they expected this when they signed up to be henchmen? Do you think maybe they took the job because of dental coverage, and then all of a sudden they're expected to take on a superhero who's quite happy to throw you off a fucking building? Man, it really makes you think. Out of all the jobs in the world, henchman for an evil villain is probably the most unsafe. Hold on a minute, sunshine. What? Land of darkness, health and safety. We're not in the land of darkness. I have lost my other badge. What are you doing? No, hang on, what's with the mustache? I grew it myself. Well, I think it makes me look rather distinguished. What do you reckon? I think it makes you look like a child molester. Well, those aren't safe at all. Okay, why are you here? To put an end to all this superhero business. What? Well, not safe, innit? Them lot zipping about in the sky, throwing cars, laser vision. Total mayhem. Have you seen those Marvel documentaries? Marvel documentaries? It's a video game! Sorry, what? A video game! As in, not real? Not actually happening? Are you sure? Yes! Well, I suppose if there's no regulations being broken, I'll just be on me... What the hell is that? What? That's a GameCube. You got a problem with GameCubes now? I don't like it. Why? It's all pointy. It's a cube. It's kind of what it does. Just let me sand off those corners. Get out! Fine. But you ain't seen the last of me. I'll be back. Right, where the fuck was I? Oh yeah, this game isn't very good. Now, aside from all the generic action levels as Mr. Strong and Lady Long, you also get to play as their kids, in a grand total of 4 levels. What, isn't that enough? Violet only gets one stage. It's a generic traffic light stealth minigame made only slightly more unique by the fact that you can turn fully invisible. Not that it really helps you that much. Also, for a stealth character, Violet sure does like to make a lot of noise.
This is not good. Cool. See ya. Super duper. I need a break.
Dash gets 2 levels, one taking inspiration from an actual scene in the movie, and the other is a bizarre stage where he has to run to school because he missed the bus, completely exposing his powers and identity in front of everyone. No, I'm sure it's fine. I don't think anyone will notice the 10-year-old running at the speed of sound into a fucking car. I actually prefer this level to the one in the jungle, because you can actually see the obstacles and have a chance of reacting to them. In the later stage, everything just kind of blends together into a big green pixely mess. But the running to school one? Actually not half bad. And of course, there's the level where you play as both Dash and Violet inside of a force-field hamster ball. It's bad. It's just very bad. Sure, bowling people over is fun at first, but you're so fast and bouncy you can't properly control yourself, the physics barely work anyway, you get stopped dead in your tracks by even the smallest amount of damage, oh, and all the enemies in this level respawn. So good luck trying to complete any objective. While playing this game, you'll notice that there are only 2 types of bosses. The large, hulking Omnidroids, and these things. With the exception of a single fight with Bon Voyage on level 3, these are the only bosses you'll encounter, and you will fight them as many times as the game feels necessary. The bomb-throwing bosses are easy enough. Memorize their pattern, avoid their attacks, throw back the bombs they shoot at you, standard stuff. The Omnidroids, on the other hand, are an entirely different breach of the Geneva Convention. Again, like the bomb bots, the idea is simple enough. Avoid their attacks, throw rocks at their head, or just punch at their legs, and whittle down their health until they enter their next phase. However, in between their attacks, the Omnidroids will roll across the battlefield and try to hit you, but I swear it is just luck if you actually manage to get out of the way. 9 times out of 10, you won't, and they will just roll over you and take away a large portion of your health. Health which, by the way, isn't easy to find during boss fights. Now this would be okay if it wasn't for the fact that they expect you to deal with all of this and beat the boss's 3 health bars in 1 life. Oh, shit. Fuck. Nah. Oh, come on. Hang on. What was Syndrome's password in the movie again? Kronos. Alright, this better work. Yeah! Alright, so let's see what this code actually does. Fuck yeah! Man, you know, I forgot this game had cheats. And what a selection it has too. As we saw, Kronos gives you one-hit kills. However, some of the other cheats include this very clever reference which restores some of your health. Typing in Einsteinium activates Big Head mode, which... yes it does. And the slightly odd boa place makes the game... 20% easier? What, was Rainbow Dash a developer on this game or something?
It needs to be about 20% cooler.
To be honest, there's not much more to this game. The final level is just a watered-down Omnidroid boss fight, which was considerably easier than previous fights due to the fact that he's a lot more interested in trying to kill my family to worry about me most of the time. You just dodge his attacks, throw rocks at his head, shoot him with his own foot, and the game's complete. All in all, it took me just under 8 hours to complete this one, and I must say I don't feel rewarded at all. Sure, I unlocked a few scenes from the movie in Gamecube quality, but I already own it on Blu-ray, so that's pretty pointless. Even the bonus items you collect throughout the stages aren't worth it. You want to play a mediocre action game just so you can see low-resolution concept art from it? Seriously, this is the quality they are. You can't even attempt to read any of this. The only other bonus items are a trailer for the film and an admittedly charming making-of video. I have a soft spot for these kind of things. It's neat seeing games being developed, especially older games when all the computers look like crap.
Well, the movie's about an hour and a half long. The game's about 15 hours long.
You're a lying sack of shit, Lyle. So, overall, this is a mediocre title at best. All it really does is further tarnish the reputation of movie-licensed games as uninspired cash-ins with no redeeming qualities. Which, of course, we all know just isn't true. As a child, I enjoyed this game, and there are still some aspects that are fun, but it's got too many downsides to really justify the few good things. Shallow combat, repetitive level design, infuriating bosses. The Incredibles on Gamecube has aged about as well as John Hurt in The Sun. Funnily enough, this game did have a sequel where you played exclusively as Iceman and Strong Dad. But this video is long enough as it is, maybe another time. The Incredibles game may not have been very good, but the movie is a timeless classic as far as I'm concerned. And honestly, if you still haven't seen it,
Your fate has already been sealed.
thanks for watching my video on The Incredibles. I hope it made you feel super. Before I move on to my usual end of video guff, I'd just like to announce that I recently hit 1,000 subscribers, which is amazing and I can't thank you all enough. To celebrate this, I'm going to be making a Q&A video sometime after this one. But of course, I need questions. If you have any questions for me, literally anything, please leave them down below in the comments. Speaking of questions, my question of the day is, who is your favourite superhero? Myself? I'm probably gonna have to say Pajama Sam. Don't forget to click like if you enjoyed this video, leave a comment down below, subscribe if you wish to see more, and follow me on Twitter @TheTransHeel. I've been MayRey, and I'll see you all next time.
Be gone!